18, 20, I was in art schools, and rainbows were really considered as bad taste figure, graphical thing. And at the very beginning, I used them just to say kind of fuck, but then it became kind of a signature, and it evolved. Like rainbows evolved in my work, and the presence of it evolved in my work. And at that time, it happened like this, something that would be exactly what it is in the old books. The link between us and something bigger than us, the hope, also the even the more concrete thing, like just how do you say, the diamond is diffracting light, the diffraction of light, like super simple, and also I think as I'm a drawer, filmmakers like actual filmmakers that do live action movies, they work with light, like it's all about light. And us in drawing, we don't have that. And I think that's unconsciously also why I use rainbows, is because there's no light in drawings. There's no a real image. When you shoot an image, it's all about grabbing light, and we don't have that. We always begin on a blank space, and we put black things on white. So I don't know. It's a mix of a lot of things. I think non-conscious things also.
And Felix, my understanding is that when he first showed you this, the story seems to be that you were the one that said, this is a film. This is a movie. And obviously, you've done short films and music videos and graphic novels, but what made you think this is a film, this drawing?
I think there was the idea of rainbows itself first, the idea of the character who could be a rainbow. I think it was very interesting. It's something we say most of the time. It's the rainbow is made of a contradiction. It has to rain and to be sunny at the same time. There's something interesting in the figure of rainbow, and I think it's also the fact that. I could sense that it was a shift. It was coming from somewhere else. I don't know, in Ugo's work, and so it's this. I don't know. It's always hard to give answers to that, because then we just project, like we retrospectively say stuff. But I think it's intuition, and I wouldn't. So that's something Ugo sometimes says. He says. How much we need to ignore to act, and I ignored how much energy it would take to make the film and all of that, but I could sense that there was a path within the, and actually in a way it's a bit the story of the film itself. At the end she has a drawing, and maybe she'll draw or invent ARCO's future, and it's exactly what happened to us with the film. He sent me a drawing, and inside this drawing was the whole film and the whole, the belief or the potential of the whole film. So I think the answer is the same answer we do with the film at the end. It's like, it's just a matter of what do we believe has to exist.
And also, Félix often talks in music like about the how do you say
hits, like hits, pop songs.
Can you?
Yeah. It's, I don't know if you feel the same. For me, like big hits, they make you super happy when you're happy and super sad when you're sad. They have this potential. Like you listen, like major hits, not just, and so it's a bit like that.
This gave us confidence in what we could do, because the movie was all about this contradiction of light and darkness. And
I've heard you talk about this pop song analogy, which I completely agree with. But of course, with a pop song, it's 3 or 4 minutes, and this was a process for the two of you in terms of writing it, and then bringing on Sophie and Natalie Portman and all these other folks. But in terms of just writing it, I'm curious about the idea of just sustaining those different feelings, because the writing process, I guess, started in 2022.
2020. Like we went right away. Like Félix and I are impatient, and sometimes also we think it's gonna be fast, and also because at that time I had done a comic book. A lot of persons wanted me to adapt the comic book. So I thought, maybe not Felix, but I thought it would be easy because I got so many like people wanting me to do this movie, you know. So I thought it would be easier. But as ARCO was, I wanted to do a new story, and as I think everything that's new is harder to put in the world, you know, in a way, because we have to show that it's not a madness or it's not non-relevant.
And the book they wanted him to adapt was a science fiction, not exactly the way we did the science. It was like there's a thing that I think it's bad in the world we live in, is that we always want people to be what they are when we know. So he had done this book, and everybody wanted him to adapt this book, which was a more classical science fiction dystopian kind of tale. It was still already a tale, but and then there's ARCO, which is more a movie for kids with more fantasy, with more. So it
wasn't me anymore.
Yeah.
At the time, and me, I don't. People don't understand often that you're not the version. I was the V3 at that moment and not the V2.
Yeah. In terms of the writing process, my understanding is that it was almost a simultaneous thing of storyboards, visuals, and also writing the script at the same time. Was one of you sort of writing the script and the other one doing the storyboards, or was it more of a collaboration, both of you working on both parts of it? How did that actually play out?
We were writing, and I was storyboarding. As Félix is not a drawer; he's a writer, producer.
It was always Ugo storyboarding, and then I was the one with the computer. But then, I mean, it had kind of different phases. But what was so great is the fact that we were writing, and each scene. When I don't know if people here write, but it's very frustrating writing scripts because they don't exist. It's just fantasy. But here we would write the scene together, then Ugo would draw it, and we would feel if the scene belonged to the movie or not. And if it didn't, we would throw it away and then go back to writing and finding new paths. And so we did that for 2 years, and it's really thanks to Ugo's ability to draw so much. He draws, it's insane the number of drawing he's able to do.
And also in animation in France, it's called dessin animé, which means animated drawings, and so drawing is really important in the name of even our craft, and I really think that in cinema we made cinema to bring images to the world, and so images are important in the writing process too, and most of all in animation, because as it's drawing, like the style of the drawing and the style of the writing have to really, fit and be almost the same, So yeah, that's what we try to do to make a really compact thing.
But it was a bit as if we had a shooting team and we would write a scene and then the shooting team would arrive and would shot the scene, and it's like, no, it is like we went to really, it's the number of directions we've been that are, like, it's not just an alternative of the scene, it's like a different movie. Like half of the movie, we go draw completely another, and not ending, but from the half to the end. It's like we have like, I don't know, thousands of drawings.
It was a lot about finding the truth of the movie, and not going like trying to find what, like when you try to find a dinosaur on the floor, like Stephen King says, like if you go too fast, you find another feet of dinosaur, and you create a chimera, and it's not the actual dinosaur you were looking for. And at one point we were like, maybe we found a little dinosaur, not a big one, but the most important thing is to show the actual dinosaur you got, even if it's small, and this is our work, I think.
It seems like, not working in that world at all, it seems like a fascinating way to find your film. Is like you said, like you're almost shooting it and then throwing things away and doing it in terms of like you said, a big dinosaur or a small dinosaur. In terms of coming up with what ARCO ended up being, was it sort of figuring out thematically what the story was, or emotionally what the story was? In terms of this throwing away and then coming up with new things, what was the path, I guess, for the two of you?
Honestly, to me, it was just the truth, like and not trying to say this would be awesome, or this would be crazy, or just letting things to the level they were, you know, and just respecting the material and trying to push it where we loved also force, and not trying to go, you know, people were saying, oh, it's traveling in time, so you could do time lapse, or you can do, but this already exists first, and also like this is not us, I think three, so yeah.
And I think it was, and the other big thing was to not show it to people. So that was the hardest part of the film. Is normally you write a script and then you go to producers, or you go to, then you show them, they say, oh, it's a good version, maybe you could do that, you could tweak that, then you start financing or whatever. There's different steps. Us, we, for 3 years, we did, apart to Arno, who's the composer of the film, who was like involved at the very, very beginning, we didn't show the script to anyone, apart from a producer a bit at the end of the process, who read the script. Was the exact same script of the film, and we said, the bad guys, they're not really bad guys, then this could be that, and that's when we decided with Ugo that we should take the storyboard and put it into an animatic, and push the film to the maximum of what we thought it would be by showing this animatic with like music, with and I think it really helped us protect the film. To like when we found the dinosaur, we did like we had to hire like a little team to take the dinosaur out to do a little exhibition museum, let's say, and then be able to, like we said, the dinosaur is strong enough to be, and that's when we showed
to the rest of the world. So we hired 3 persons with me doing the animating. We had to do five shots a day, and it was really clear animatic. We were animating at 8 images per second, maybe 12, and at one point we were kind of almost broke, and because it was all our money with Félix. So we called our agent, and it's the agent of Nathalie. He came, he saw and he said, he told us like maybe they could be interested, you know, because they just made with Sophie and Nathalie made Montenay. So you came like one day after, and the rest maybe you could.
And I knew Sophie from before. Yeah. I remember really well I was at my grandmother's house. I remember having Sophie on the phone after she had just lunch with Jamil, who had pitched the film, I think, before even seeing the animatic.
And what I can say is that what was really great for us is that they understood the movie we wanted to make and the way we wanted to make it, and they became kind of the bodyguards of us and the movie too. So it was great.
I mean, this is a great experience. This is a great segue to talk to Sophie a little bit. Sophie, you and Natalie Portman worked together as producers. Correct me if I'm wrong, you hadn't been developing or working on any animated projects before this. Were the two of you looking for something in animation, or was this just kind of came your way?
No, it just happened that Jamil, our common friends and who works with Natalie, told us that we had to see this project, this animatic that Ugo and Felix had done, and we were just curious, and because we trust him and believe in, we knew about Ugo and Felix's talent, but it was sort of, okay, let's check it out, and then we cried and moved, I hope the same way you were moved when you watched the movie, just with this 40-minute animatic in black and white and no voice, just, you know, subtitles, the work in progress dialogues and music, and we were blown away. And I think this is when we're like, okay, we've never done animation, but let's just give it a try, because we felt compelled to just join the project and just help in whichever capacity we could help. But at the end of the day, I think we trusted them to take care of the animation part. It's not the craft, and you know, they know how to do it, and I think on our side it's like 20 years of producing movies, storytelling, understanding the market, the partners, and just coming along and joining forces, I think.
And also in terms of, because I saw the film first when it was in Cannes, and that was with the French voice actors and subtitles. And I saw it again this week in preparation for us talking with the English language. And sometimes it can be awkward, but it's so nicely done. And I wanted to ask about finding the American cast for this. Sophie, is this you and Natalie? Is this you collaborating with them? Yeah.
It's all of us together, but did you think the two versions were very different, or how did you feel about it?
Because I think sometimes when you see it in the original and then see it in the American, it can be jarring.
Yeah.
And this wasn't. And I was really, really impressed. And it so emotionally felt the same.
Yeah.
And those characters still came through either way. And obviously I knew the American actors quite well, recognized their voices, but still it worked so well. That's why I was so curious to ask you.
I think it's a combination of two things. The first one is to stick to the culture of the country. You know, like I think with the help of Neon, we were like casting the voices and trying, and also with Natalie's feedback as a producer and creative partner, being like, okay, are the kids in the French version, like they sound French and they connect with French culture in a way? And I think in the American version, we're trying to go along with what it feels to grow up here and the tone that are different, you know. So we rely on Natalie and Neon and the casting directors. And then we're like, okay, we're a tiny movie coming from France, like how can we exist? And so we had 2 months, not even like after Cannes and Annecy, when Neon bought the film to just be ready for Toronto, and we're like, okay, you know, it took us 6 months in France to just go through voices and cast kids. We had literally no time. So we made some phone calls, hoping one of these people, you know, Will, and that we had worked on May, December, and Mark Ruffalo, were shooting with him in New York this summer, and we hoped one of them would say yes, and they watched the film and they're like, okay, we want to, you know, we love Ugo and Felix's film, we want to be a part of it. So we organized like afternoon Zooms with Ugo being in France, Will Ferrell being in LA, I was in New York, and we tried to record the voices in whichever way we could over the summer in order to edit the voices in August and be ready and mix it and then be ready for Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, also just, you talked before about there are a lot of movies about the future that are quite bleak. And you've done a decent amount of sci-fi work that we talked about. But there's such optimism in this, and I'm curious how much of that was being in COVID and sort of wanting something more optimistic and hopeful during a dark time, or if that's sort of naturally the two of you in terms of how you are, in terms of how you see the world.
I think the first answer would be that it appeared to me that we were living in a bad science fiction movie at the time, and that if we wanted better things to happen, maybe science fiction was responsible in a way that the world we were living in, you know, robots, AI, things coming, and also I thought if we want better things to happen, we have to imagine them first. That was the first, I think, main thing. And also I wanted to have kids. I had 2 during the production because it took 5 years, and I didn't want them to look at my work and say, "Oh, Papa is so cynical," you know. And yeah, so I really wanted to put more to bring the light on, and also be part of building light, bringing light to the world is really much harder than bringing darkness. I wanted to be part of the kids, like building sandcastles and breaking them, you know, and yeah, now I think in my life that's what I want to do. It's like just be on that side of the game, and even if it's sometimes hard, even if sometimes people feel like, you know, there are pure forms. It's hard to do a really thin and yeah, I don't know how to.
And naive stuff also, and
kind of naive. Looks naive, but
there's something you say sometimes that I really like. He says, when I was a kid, nobody respected the adult who was in me, and now that I'm adult, nobody respects the kid that is in me. And I think that's really this, and it's the shift also. I think it was very courageous for Hugo in his work, because I mean, maybe here is not that famous, but in France, the book he was talking about, it was like a pretty big success, and it's courageous to say, okay, I'm not gonna do this that people don't make me to do, but I'm gonna do something else that they don't see in me yet, and it takes courage. And I think the idea of that it's harder to defend not to criticize. It's very easy to criticize stuff, That's why there are so many politicians who just are on, like keep always the criticizing position and never take power. And then some take power and do other stuff.
I wanted to thank you all for being here, and thank you for this same council, which is lovely.